Sports.
We are Buckfork. We are Buckfork.
Tonight, the Rays return home off a road trip, swing through Boston and New York. And a 3-1 victory yesterday over the Yankees. Well, it doesn't get any easier. The Toronto Blue Jays come calling to open the homestand for the Rays. And with the Rays coming home, that means that Will Myers, who made his major league debut on that road trip, two venues like Fenway Park and Yankee Stadium, tonight makes his home debut. And as we look at the American League East, it continues to be a balanced race. Everybody at least 2 games over 500. The Blue Jays and the Rays each 5 back. Hi again, everyone. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Stats. Great to have you looking in. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Well, BA, the Blue Jays, the last time the Rays saw them, the Blue Jays were struggling. They got off to a terrible start, but they have been anything but that with an 11-game winning streak now.
And when you look at this 11-game winning streak, the only thing that you need to know, the only stat really that matters, is they've outscored their opponents over the 11 games 70-27. That speaks to dominance in pitching and hitting. Let's start with the pitching. Look at that ERA, 2.07. The opponent's average, 2.21. They've got the best bullpen going in baseball right now. Absolutely locked down. Obviously, the starters getting it done. They've given up just 81 total hits in 100 innings. Other side, the offense, and they have been raking. 20 home runs in the 11 games. 8 of the 11 games, they've had multi-home run games. They've done it with power, and as you can see right down there at the bottom, they've done it with clutch hitting. 343 average with runners in scoring position. They just continue to score at will and pitch well. The offense for the Blue Jays will try to be controlled tonight by Jeremy Hellickson, who is coming off one of his better starts of the year against the Boston Red Sox. They feature a very strong, aggressive offense, just like this Blue Jay, and he was able to keep them off balance by just mixing his pitches, staying down in the zone, and frustrating that Boston Red Sox lineup. He will have the ability to do that tonight. Obviously, because they're so aggressive, that fastball changeup combo features to play a prominent role.
Hellickson with 8 career starts against the Blue Jays. 3-2 with an earned run average a little over 3. Pitched 8 innings of baseball against them at the end of May. Turned out to get a no decision in a loss. Yeah. Well, Will Myers home here at Tropicana Field. He was out before the game, going over the outfield and looking at the roof with George Hendrick. He's in that lineup, making his debut in front of the hometown crowd.
Jays are in town, riding an 11-game winning streak. Currently, the Rays and the Blue Jays within percentage points tied in the American League East, 5 games behind the Boston Red Sox. For Will Myers, quite an exciting time to start his young career because he begins it at Fenway Park and Yankee Stadium. Opened up with playing 18 innings of baseball in a day-night doubleheader at Fenway, including a little rain delay in between, and he gets his first hit in the nightcap against Felix Dubron. Myers also would have this 2 RBI double to right center field against Alex Wilson, his first RBIs of his career. And who will ever forget this moment? A grand slam that gave the Rays a 5-3 lead, becoming the first player in 33 years to be a visitor at Yankee Stadium to hit his first Major League home run as a slam. Here's Will's thoughts about his first week in Big League Baseball.
Pretty sweet. Obviously opening up in Boston and New York, it was awesome. 2 of the best parks to play at in the league. So it's been a great week so far. I'm looking forward to starting off here at home in front of the home crowd.
How do you describe this home start? How do you put this into words?
I really don't even know. I'm just very excited about it, especially playing here in front of the home crowd. It's going to be awesome here in front of your home fans. So I'm really looking forward to tonight.
So we'll see what kind of reaction the Rays fans give Will Myers. Getting ready to start baseball on this Monday evening. It's Esmiel Rogers for the Blue Jays taking on Jeremy Hellickson for the Rays. We'll have all the game highlights in action right around the corner with the starting lineups in just about 2.5 minutes. Enjoy, everyone.
Road trip on a winning note, thanks to James Loney's clutch 2 RBI single, leading Tampa Bay to a split versus the Yankees. Tonight, baseball's hottest team arrives at the Trop. The Toronto Blue Jays come calling, riding an 11-game winning streak. Well, the Rays come home, and with that, their rookie right fielder Will Myers takes the field for the first time here at Tropicana Field. And a big welcome for Will. Settling in right field. Done a nice job of settling into the middle of the Rays lineup. And let's take a look at the Toronto Blue Jays lineup presented by Sweet Bay Supermarkets. Melky Cabrera leads off, followed by Jose Bautista hitting second. Edwin Encarnacion, the DH third. Adam Lynn cleanup. He's been red hot. be Rasmus follows, then J.P. Arancibia. Mice Aristoris is at third. Emilio Bonifacio at second. And Munenori Kawasaki is the shortstop. He is hitting ninth.
Now, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Jeremy Hellickson making his 16th start of the season. His season numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. Coming off a very strong outing against the Boston Red Sox. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, and picking up that 5th win. Take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind him in the outfield left to right. Joyce, Fold, and Myers. Across the infield third to first, Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate.
Sam Fold out there in center field, making his 25th start of the year for the Rays. And here's Melky Cabrera. Hellickson all set. And the first pitch of this game is a strike call. That first pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. Blue Jays had 2 games over 500 at 38 and 36. The Rays 39 and 37. John Gibbons directing this club to an 11-game winning streak. Cabrera misses the changeup. And the formula has been pretty basic. You up your scoring by 2 runs a game, and you prevent the opposition from scoring. You reduce that rate by a game and a half, or 1.5, and you win 11 in a row. And Cabrera is called out on strikes to start this game.
Well, it's all about staying down and staying in good spots for Jeremy Hellickson. That's what he did there. And look what you're talking about all around. I mean, it's pretty amazing. That bullpen has been the best in baseball for about 70 innings now. They have been shut down. The starters obviously giving them that opportunity, but their offense has been power-laden, home runs, clutch hitting. That's been the formula.
Here's Jose Bautista. And the first pitch to him is a strike. They've won 11 in a row. And Bautista, for the life of the streak, is hitting 163.
Scary.
Great numbers here against Hellickson. He got them the game winner when they started this winning streak in a game against the White Sox. And then had a big home run against Baltimore the other day. 2 strikes the count to Bautista. 1-1. Now there's a ground ball to third. Longoria has it, and the throw to first in time. So 2 up and 2 down for Hellickson.
Yeah, interesting sequence there by Jeremy. He starts him with a fastball down and away, and then 2 curveballs that he started at Bautista, trying to break them to the inside corner. We've not seen that before from Jeremy Hellickson. But when a guy's 7 for 15 off of you with damage, you will start to switch up those sequences.
And here's a guy who has been very hot. Edwin Encarnacion. 21 home runs and 63 runs batted in. And there goes the bat on a swing and a miss. The bat behind the dugout a few rows back. So a big strike right there. Encarnacion gets a new bat.
Impressive distance. I mean, Kelly Shopik would be so proud. And that right there is an indicator that the changeup here, at least in the early going, is pretty good.
A 1-1 count. Strikeout and a ground out. 2 up, 2 down. Hot shot. That's foul. Yeah, Encarnacion hitting .274 overall for the year. And he's hitting .350 for the life of this streak, and up second now when it comes to home runs in the American League.
much like Jose Bautista a couple years ago, making the jump in the power numbers, the home run specifically. That's what Encarnacion did starting last year.
Well, these guys will be aggressive, and they attack that zone. You talk about defining a zone as a hitter. Well, they're just attacking that zone.
And that's why it's important for a pitcher to reclaim that plate, because Encarnacion, Bautista, right now Adam Lynn, they're walking up there like that's their home plate, up to Jeremy Hellickson to let him know.
And there goes the bat again on a swing and a miss. And another one on a great catch in the stands back of the dugout. So a couple of bats thrown into the stands as Encarnacion was just a little bit out front. Sweet Bay Supermarkets. Matt Joyce will top the list, followed by Ben Zobrist and Luke Scott, the DH. Evan Longoria, James Loney, and Will Myers down the middle. Sam Fold hits 7th in front of Jose Lobaton, and Yunel Escobar hits 9th.
Taking the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays, Esmail Rogers making his 5th start of the season. You see a lot of appearances out of the bullpen. Came into the starting rotation right at the end of May. May 29th, has been building his pitch count up from there, and is coming off a couple of very nice starts against Colorado Rockies and the Texas Rangers.
Well, there's Matt Joyce looking at the first pitch. Fastball down. 1 ball, no strikes. And with that recent success for Rogers has come a jolt of confidence. 2-0. Rogers, 27 years old. Been with the Rockies. He's been with the Indians. Now with the Blue Jays. And he's promptly behind Matt Joyce, 3-0. Zobrist up in the 2nd spot tonight. There's a strike. And strike 2 down around the knees. So that runs the count full.
And the fans here not liking that pitch. The ball pops out of Aaron Sevia's glove. You're going to see that's a pretty good pitch. That's a strike.
And the ground ball to short. Kawasaki up with it. A low throw, and Lynn digs it out at first. Well, a lot of energy by Kawasaki, and Here's a guy who's been an interesting part of this 11-game winning streak.
Now, he's been very productive.
Well, to the point where they have Jose Reyes about ready to come back, and they're kind of day-to-day on whether they're going to put him in the lineup or not. Get him off the disabled list. Zobrist taking a strike.
Well, if the Rays want to see him just win tonight,
yeah,
they'd pop him right in there tomorrow.
1-1 in the meantime. John Gibbons, their manager, is really not of a mind to upset what has been a very successful apple cart to this point.
Well, everything's been clicking. The starters have been good. The bullpen's been better. The offense has been very powerful. They've outscored their opponents 70-27 over the life of the streak. That is just complete and utter dominance.
It's a tap just off to the right and foul. Aaron Sevilla trying to bend back across his body to grab it, but it was foul.
Let's take a quick look at the Blue Jay defense as it lines up tonight. The outfield left to right, Elke Cabrera, Colby Rasmus, and Jose Bautista. Across the infield, third to first, Maicias Turris, Munenori Kawasaki, Emilio Bonifacio, and Adam Lynn. J. Pierre and Sevilla will be behind the plate.
And a full count now to Zobrist. Rogers fell behind Joyce 3-0, went to 3-2 and got him on the ground ball to short. 3-2 to Ben Zobrist. And there's ball 4. The Rays get a base runner. That means Luke Scott will be up here, the DH, with a man in first and 1 out. One of his 4 home runs this year at the expense of the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays have put together this winning streak playing the White Sox, the Texas Rangers, the Colorado Rockies, and the Baltimore Orioles. One hopper to second. Bonifacio to Kawasaki. Over to Lynn for the 4-6-3 double play. We've completed 1 inning tonight. No score. And the 2013 Pulitzer Prize winning Tampa Bay Times. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Jeremy Hellickson coming off a 1-2-3 first with a couple strikeouts along the way. He'll face the cleanup hitter, first baseman Adam Lind. And Lind has been very hot through the life of the winning streak, hitting .341. And his overall average now up to .337. Hellickson's first pitch is upstairs. Our Toyota trend on Adam Lind, month by month.
Better and better and better. See the home runs, the RBIs really jump out at you.
Rolls it to second, and Zobrist makes the routine play. One away. Now Colby Rasmus. 14 home runs for Rasmus. Pitch is too low. 1 ball, no strikes on Rasmus. He's in at the knees. 1-1. One ball, one strike. Rasmus fouls this one the other way out of play. Jeremy Hellickson, 3-2 lifetime. That game he pitched against the Blue Jays this year back on the 22nd of May. And no decision. He's made 8 lifetime starts against the Blue Jays to go 3-2 with a 3.04. But he pitched well in that game. Gave them just 4 hits and 2 runs. But a no decision against him in early May as well.
8 innings, just over 100 pitches. I love that combination. Well, that's the one thing that Jeremy Hellickson has not hurt himself with this year is the walk. He's had a couple of high walk games, but 12 of the 15 has been 1 or 0.
Including the last 4.
And, you know, when you break down his year, where he has struggled and without walking guys, and you think, well, that means really good command, and, you know, and yet he's got the ERA at 5.5. It goes back to just a couple of things. First of all, he's struggled a little bit with runners on and runners in scoring position, and the batting average on balls in play. You know, that's one of those stats that he has been elite in the last couple of years, and as a career, it's a .256 average. This year, it's up over 300, which lets you know that teams are finding more holes. They're making better contact, so maybe the command has not been as good inside of the strike zone.
That's why his numbers with men in scoring position have not been as good. And no sooner do we talk about no walks than here is one. He had not walked a man all month. It starts on the 2nd in Cleveland and against the Orioles on the 8th. Start against Kansas City and Boston. No walks in any of them. And a 1-out walk here to Rasmus in the 2nd inning tonight.
Unfamiliar territory. Well, you got to find a way to pitch around that.
He faces J.P. Arancibia. And he breaks his bat as Arcibia fouls it into the stands. Well, let's see. Encarnacion threw 2 bats into the stands. There's a broken bat.
Good sign for Jeremy Hellickson. He's going through these guys, their bats. That just shows you. I mean, outside of the walk to Rasmus, he's been very good on both sides of the plate so far. Really getting the ball to the corner where he wants it. You get a hitter to swing at the first pitch and crack his bat. That ball was put in a good spot.
Too far in this time. It's 1-1. Baltimore has taken a 1-0 lead at home over Cleveland. Nick Markakis hit his 8th home run of the year to account for the Orioles' run. It's 2-1. One on, one out. He's deep in that batter's box. Deep and then some. Ground ball headed up the middle. Rasmus heads to third. The throw from Fold into second. And the Blue Jays have men on the corners.
Well, J.P. Arencibia finding a hole up the middle, but nice base running there by Colby Rasmus. That ball dribbled into the outfield, was not hit hard. And again, good secondary lead. He reads it, knows where the outfielder is, and picks up and is gone.
And the ball perfectly placed and not hit all that hard.
Not at all. And, you know, we've seen hitters before. You talked about J.P. Arencibia's setup against a guy like Hellickson where they're not worried about getting blown away with the fastball. The changeup is the pitch. He'll move up in the batter's box. Try to take that changeup away.
There's Maicer Sturis. Misses the fastball, strike one.
I think one of the reasons that you don't see that as much against Jeremy Hellickson is because his changeup isn't one of those changeups like, you know, a James Shields changeup, an Alex Cobb changeup where it has that finish, that just big dip at the end. Jeremy's is more of staying straight and true. It just never gets there.
And there's a strike at the knees. So 2 quick strikes to the Blue Jays' third baseman. One out, then a walk, then a base hit, first and third. Cross to first. Arencibia not headed anywhere. Toronto beginning a 7-game road trip. 3 here, and they'll head to Fenway Park for 4 against the Red Sox. 2-strike pitch. Ground ball first. Loney down to second. Back to first. Held it for 3-6-3. That retires the side. Loney starts it. Escobar in the middle, and back to Loney. Scoreless.
the road. Pretty surreal, especially that grand slam against New York. Well, yesterday, when he was leaving the Bronx, he sent out this tweet to cap it off. Good win to cap off road trip, fun first week, ready to get to Tampa and play in the Trop. And he told me before the game, guys, that he just loves this clubhouse atmosphere, has never seen anything like it. Everybody has really made an effort to make him feel at home.
Well, that's what they're known for in that clubhouse. It's a little different atmosphere, and he's already picked up on that. Evan Longoria leads off the home half of the second, takes the pitch inside. One and one. Evan hitting .304 with 17 home runs now. 2 balls and a strike. Longoria with just 3 at-bats lifetime against Rogers, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Fouled out of play. A 2-ball, 2-strike count. And a high fly ball into right. It's Bautista toward the line with a lot of room. 1 away.
No, that's one of the main reasons that Joe Madden wanted to limit the exposure of the right-handed bats to Rogers. Been pitching very well lately, and when you look at his breakout, he's to the right-handed hitters. He's fastball slider about 93, 94% of the time. And like I said, the last couple of starts, it's been very good. The slider's been very sharp, and you think of him, the way he's been throwing the ball is the way Irvin Santana was. And if he gets that fastball slider mix going against the righties, he can make an awful long night for him.
Well, he faces the left-handed bat now, James Loney. He misses with the fastball. Mid-90s with that fastball right there, the 4-seamer. Another one, and it's foul back. Myers on deck. And a shot well tagged into right center field. That ball's got carry and gone. James Loney hits its 9th home run, and the Rays take the early lead. Loney's home run makes it a 1-0 ball game.
Number 9, Will Myers.
And here's Will Myers. Myers comes into the Trop, making his home debut with his first big league home run out of the way. That, of course, the grand slam in New York.
Every day you find something new to like about this kid. How about his walk-up music?
That's one of your favorites.
It is. Oh, it is.
Down in the count 0-2. The fans would like Paul Emmel to give Will Meyer a break.
Who doesn't love the crew? Kickstart My Heart, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about getting the blood pumping like right now. Sounds like a good takeoff song.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, the game certainly does not appear to speed up on Will Myers. Not at this point so far.
Nope.
Got the right walk-up music and a grand slam.
had a nice balance of enjoying the moment, but yet going out and playing baseball. You know, he's not sitting back in awe, but he's also not just plowing through it and not being able to take stock of what he's actually getting a chance to do.
Now there's a shot. High and deep, straightaway center. Rasmus to the wall. It's gone. Will Myers hits his second home run in his first at bat at Tropicana Field. No doubt about that one to center.
Wow. How about that?
Speeding up on him? No. Enjoying the moment? Yes. Rays lead 2-0. Back-to-back home runs. Fans want a curtain call on the rookie. He quickly obliges. How about that for a moment?
First at bat at home. Dead center.
Now 2-0 to Sam Fold, and there's a shot. Way back to right. That ball's going to get out. Fold has hit a home run. 3 consecutive home runs for the Rays. First Loney, then Myers, and now Fold. 3-0 Tampa Bay.
Now, it's been a combination. You look at Rogers, these last 3 hitters, bad counts and hanging pitches. Hanging slider to Myers. Loney got one out over the plate, and Fold, a 2-0 heater, middle. They're not missing right now.
Watch the Rays bench. Sam's second home run of the year. Jose Lobaton. 1-0. One hopper to second. Down goes Bonifacio, but he picks himself up and makes the throw to first. And Lobaton is retired. Sam Fold followed the home run by Will Myers, who followed the James Loney home run. And here's the shot to center by Will Myers. Escobar fouls the pitch.
You see that nice extension and that nice high finish. And that carry.
Strike 2 now to Escobar. The Rays have hit back-to-back home runs here for the first time ever at Tropicana Field. That takes care of Escobar. The Rays are finished. But the Rays with home runs from Loney, Myers, and Fold take a 3-0 lead. Another look. Rockies bomb to center. Of solo home runs. Second time the Rays have done that in franchise history. First time here at the Trop.
Now starts with a pitch out over the plate. He drills that to right center. Will Myers gets a fastball up at the belt, dead center, and then Sam Folded a 2-0 count. Starts to attack. Finish off the Rays' quick burst of scoring in the second.
Emilio Bonifacio. First pitch to him is a strike. Well, the Rays on June the 9th of 2008, hit 3 consecutive home runs on the road against the Angels. Longoria, Ibar, and Navarro connected. Tonight it's Loney, Myers, and Fold. 1-1. And how about this for Ismael Rogers? He had given up 3 home runs all year in 50 innings. And then in the span of 9 pitches, he gives up 3 home runs. Bonifacio takes ball 2.
And 2 of the 3 coming from left-handed hitters who he had not surrendered a home run to at all.
Mm-hmm. Ground ball, and in front of this one, second baseman, then Zobrist takes care of Bonifacio. Well, Myers hit his right out to dead center. It was a no-doubter. 100.6 miles per hour off the bat of Will Myers. Loney's home run was 96 miles per hour. Fold's 91. And as you saw, Myers just over 100 miles per hour off the bat.
Well, then I think that his should count for more. Since we're going to start counting.
Mm-hmm. Well, factor it in. 1 ball, 1 strike. But then you'd have to calculate.
Oh, listen.
Pitch speed, all of that.
There's somebody in the basement right now coming up with a formula. You know it.
1-1 to count here to Kawasaki. He lifts a high popper down the right field line. Zobrist into foul territory by the bullpen, makes the catch with the outstretched glove hand. 2 gone.
And not the easiest of angles for Ben Zobrist, but able to track that down, make the catch.
back around to the top of the order. Here's Melky Cabrera. Ellickson got him looking in the first. Pops him up, back to third. Evans after it. Will he have room? Yes, but off his glove. Just very close, about a step away from the low wall. And could not hang on.
Yeah, but not very happy. This is a ball that could have been caught. Most of the time you're going to see Evan catch this, but you keep close to that low wall. And you start to sense the wall, wonder exactly where you're at. Maybe anticipate contact with the wall and fall off the end of the glove.
Ground ball for Loney. He'll take it in himself, stepping on the bag. And we'll head to the bottom of the third with the Rays leading 3-0.
It is to see Alex Cobb back in the Rays dugout less than a week and a half after taking that line drive off the head, off the bat of Eric Hosmer. Today he addressed the media and gave an update on his condition.
Went to the doctor today and heard great news from them that it's healing quicker than she expected, and should see some drastic improvements in the next week or so. The mental side, I have no question, no doubt in my mind. I've read a few things saying people think that I might not even pitch again this year, which is, can't be anything further from the truth. I'll be, ready to go as soon as my body tells me I'm 100%. But mentally, there's no doubt in my mind I'll be fine.
Guys, Alex Cobb talking with Jim Hickey right there. He says the highlight of his days lately has been both getting a walk by his girlfriend as she walks the dog. She also walks him. And also, he said, watching the Rays on the road trip on Sun Sports as Matt Joyce lines a single in the right field. The great thing about Alex, guys, you know better than anybody, he will be back. There's no timetable right now, but just great to see him back watching baseball again.
Yeah, Todd, you're absolutely right about that. It's uplifting to see him address the media as he did, and in uniform again. And in regard to when he's going to be back, that just really makes the point. People can speculate all they want. He's going to be back quickly. He's not going to be back all year, all of that. The truth is, it's all right to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And let him recover as he will. And you heard him say, his doctors are telling him that things are moving along really a little quicker than they anticipated, which is great news. It's great news individually for him. The concerns about Alex Cobb, the human being first, and then the pitcher and Ray next. And this is really great to see him back this early and talking about wanting to get back. Ben Zobrist in the batter's box. There goes Joyce. Ground ball handled by Bonifacio. Into second goes Joyce, and Zobrist is the first out.
You know, and you heard him there talk too about the mental aspect of coming back, and you never know until you get out there. However, all things being equal, you would consider a guy like Alex Cobb, his mental makeup, what we know of him, to be well equipped to be able to handle that, because it is going to be something different when you get back out on that mound and the first hitter that comes up there with a bat and you don't have an L screen and you got to start making pitches again. You know, first ball that's hit back up the middle. You know, those are going to be things to deal with, and
and he appears ready to deal with all of these elements step by step, which is great. He's not out ahead of himself, as you would expect him to handle it the way he has, because he's so cool on the mound and what we've seen of him as a young pitcher. Scott takes a strike. I thought the great thing was, we're flattered that he loves to watch his teammates on our telecast. The thing he so far has hated the most was that rain delay in Boston. Right. He was all set to watch the game, and here came that giant rain delay.
3 hours.
One strike to count to Luke Scott, with Joyce in scoring position. One now. Rays with a 3-run lead on the dramatic 3 consecutive home run display by James Loney, Will Myers, and Sam Fold in the second inning. Two balls and a strike. Joyce led off with the base hit. See Longoria on deck. The Rays with a couple of shots to get Joyce home. Rays have had runners in every inning here. Three balls and a strike. Rays facing Ismael Rogers. Making his 5th start. 28th appearance of the year. 7th time the Rays have seen him, and the first time in the starting role. Popped into shallow left. Cabrera coming on, can't get there. Base hit. Joyce rounding third. He's going to score. Scott heads for second. He's safely in there. The Rays lead 4-0. Luke Scott drops it between Cabrera and Kawasaki.
And a nice job by Matt Joyce on reading that ball. He saw that Cabrera had no chance to get there, and Kawasaki, although he was hustling, he was not going to be able to reach it either. And you see Joyce here with a nice read. And right there, he realizes that ball's dropped down and gone. And that's what has allowed him to come around and score. Here it is. Find your fielders. Well done.
Now Scott's in scoring position. Evan Longoria in the batter's box. That's a strike. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Rays. One and one. Rogers out of the Dominican Republic, originally signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks organization as an infielder. That was in 03, and it wasn't until 06 that he turned to pitching. It's a good pitch right there, slider.
sweeping. This is a sweeping slider. Takes him right to the outside edge.
And it's popped up. Right side, Bonifacio out from second making the call, and here's Rasmus coming in from center grabbing it.
That could have been disastrous for the Blue Jays defensively. And you see Bautista talking to Bonifacio. Obviously with Rasmus coming in, if he can get there as quickly as he did, he's moving in at a better angle. That's his ball. And Bonifacio right up against it. You see right there, Rasmus ends up taking his eye off of him. That ball rattles around in that glove.
Gone. James Loney with a chance now to add to the Rays' lead. He opened the scoring with his 9th home run of the year. And a shot right back at the pitcher. Rogers with the throw to first, fired it over there to retire the side. Rays lead 4-0. The Rays Mohawk, good luck charm so far, getting the Rays off to this 4-0 lead.
The Rayhawk in 2008.
Yep.
That is what directly led to the bald look that I got going now.
And that was a good look.
Yeah, well, for most of the guys, my Rayhawk had a crosswalk in it up on top.
Yep.
And then when I took it back home and the season was over, a couple of kids, dad with the mohawk, it looks kind of, cleaned up. So I cleaned it down, loved it.
So pull that Rayhawk out, forward to the game tonight. You see what's happened so far.
Signatures on the side.
One strike, the count to Jose Bautista. Bautista, big cut and a high pop-up. Foul ball, Loney's after it. One away. Well, with one out, speaking of the Rayhawk, and the assistant to the pitching coach there, Brian Anderson, looking pretty good.
But according to who?
got to support your partner here.
What it needs to do is just kind of leave the screen. There's a ball game going on. That thing was pathetic. I can't even believe I attempted it. I was caught up in the moment, I guess.
The spirit of the act. First pitch to Edwin Encarnacion is a strike.
Well, it started with like a 2-guard. Took it down to a 2-guard, and then it became a 1-guard, and then balding clippers, and now it's evolved to the point that it's just every other day, 5 blades, shave it against the grain, so it's absolutely smooth.
And just be sure that you don't get caught out in the sun.
That's right. That's right.
Pitch misses to Encarnacion. It's 2-1 now. Ellickson gave up a walk and a hit in the second inning. One away here in the fourth. Do a double play ball in the second to get out of that little spot. Now it's 3 balls and a strike.
You know, and what is it with team-issued cards that go horribly awry for me?
They do?
Yeah, well, you saw that one.
Yeah.
That was a team-issued card.
It was.
So someone upstairs is not a big fan because there's no way you release that. But you should have seen another walk here.
All 4, yeah.
Yep. Well, listen, you're not going to give in to Encarnacion the way that he's swinging the bat. You fall behind, try to entice him to chase, but worse things have happened in that walk. But yeah, there was a year with the Cleveland Indians where if you look, my eyebrows, they're not really dark, but they're there.
They are there.
Well, on my team-issued baseball card that year, I'm kidding you. I wish someone could find one of these because I don't have it. And I'd love to have it. They airbrushed eyebrows on me. But the thing is, they made them like twice as thick as they should be. I have 2 giant caterpillars, but they put them in the middle of my forehead, so I look very surprised. It is one of the greatest cards you've ever seen.
Yeah, we'll have to be on the lookout for that.
No. You have to find that because they're halfway up my forehead and they're gigantic, thick black caterpillars.
Like Groucho Marx.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Who does that?
I can't imagine that there would be people who aren't fans.
Well,
you're an engaging guy.
I've got evidence that there are.
1-0 the count to Adam Lind, who fouls it back. Man out with a runner at first.
Maybe they weren't fans of how I engaged them.
Well,
there you go.
That's another matter. Lind has been very hot right along with most of this team. They've not only won 11 in a row, but 15 out of 18. Pitch is a strike. Brings the count to 1-2. Blue Jays have had a couple other winning streaks of this duration. In 87 they won 11 in a row, and 98 they won 11 in a row. Ground ball. Escobar. Zobrist 1. First base 2. They get the double play. Second double play of the night turn by the Rays, and we'll go to the bottom half of inning 4. Will Myers will lead off the bottom half of the 4th. 4-0. Will Myers about to lead off the home half of the 4th inning. He's given the fans something to cheer about already here tonight. In the middle of the 3 consecutive home runs hit by the Rays in the 2nd inning. Will's 2nd big league home run. Rogers' first pitch. Breaking ball. You don't see many curveballs from him. 1-1.
Mainly just sticks with the fastball, the slider, occasional changeup, and that's just mainly to the lefties. Well, he's making that transition out of the bullpen too, where you seem to limit your pitches.
And he picks up a strike around the knees. So the curveball and 2 sliders. And a swing and a miss. So he certainly stayed away from the fastball, and he strikes out Myers this time.
Well, this slider starts middle half of the plate. Watch Will Myers' front hip. Look at that thing leak down the third base line as that ball comes out of the hand. He thinks that's middle in, and then it just sweeps to the outside corner.
It's the second strikeout of the game for Rogers. Now here's Sam Fuld. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball, 1 strike. Sam chops it to first. Lynn grabs it and steps on the bag. 2 gone with the bases empty in the 4th in the game tonight. And all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Base is empty, and here is Jose Lobaton. Lobaton with 4 home runs on the year. 3 have come from the left side of the plate.
I'll be up all night.
2-0. He fouls a fastball back.
Yes, they do.
Fastball getting in on him a little bit. 2-1. And a base hit through the right side between first and second. Lobaton gathering hit number 6 for the Rays.
Well, one of the reasons Joe Madden goes with all the lefties in the lineup tonight, Jose Lobaton obviously switch hitter, hitting left-handed against Rogers, is because of that fastball slider combo. Some of those sliders will flatten out, move into the hitting zone, down and into the lefties where they have a little bit of power. That one right there, Lobaton able to hammer in the hole.
Yunel Escobar. Pitch into him. A ball, no strikes. 5th start of the year for Ismael Rogers. 2 of his wins as a starting pitcher. In fact, the Blue Jays have won all 4 of his starts. It's a slider for a strike. Beat Colorado the last time out. He got the win 8-3. Beat Texas in Arlington the time before that. He pitched 7 innings and won that game 3-1 against the Rangers. Ground ball headed to short. Kawasaki with a toss to Bonifacio. Ray's going to hit, leave a man, and we go to the fifth. 4-0 Tampa Bay. Nothing. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. Let's take a look at what the Blue Jays have been doing lately as opposed to their first 37 games. And you can see the difference in run production, almost 2 runs more per game, and the ERA, that's a run and a half fewer each time out.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Those numbers speak for themselves. You start scoring that much more and giving up that much less, guess what? You're going to win a ton of ball games. This is what they've done to get themselves right back in this American League East race, which at this moment takes everybody into account. I mean, everybody's got a shot. All within 5 games. Kind of figured that was the way it was going to be from the outset. And here we are towards the end of June. And
yeah, the team that was missing at the outset was Toronto, and now the Blue Jays have won their way back into the mix. And this is exactly the way I think a lot of us thought the American League East would be, where you might be in first or second one day and then 10 days later 4th or 5th. Cut by Rasmus, and you take a look at these standings. Everybody in the American League East at 500 or better, and everybody at least 2 games better than 500.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
It's the first time that's happened, certainly this year, that everybody's been at least 2 games over. Only one other time as the American League East had all 5 teams 2 games over 500 this deep into the season. And that was 2012. In fact, that year, all 5 were 500 or better as late as the 4th of July. So how long must this go on? It could go on a long time, the way this division lines up. A 3-1 count. Pierre and Sebia is on deck. And there's ball 4. So Rasmus draws the walk for the second time tonight. And let's take a walk in the direction of Todd Callis now. Todd?
Yeah, Dwayne, a little unusual with those 3 walks in this game for Jeremy Hellickson, the way he's been going. But he talked earlier about, even though he's had some games where he's let up a lot of runs this year, that has not changed his outlook at all.
Like I told you guys, I never lost confidence, even when it was going bad. So, I don't think a good outing is really going to, boost my confidence too much. I was feeling good with where I was at, and just hopefully we can keep it going now instead of, being so inconsistent like I have been.
And guys, that was the key for Jeremy the first 2 years in the big leagues. Very consistent, start in and start out. Hasn't been the case this year, but he's been on a better roll lately, back to you.
And the pitch to Aaron Sebia is a little low. 1 ball, no strikes.
Would there be anything about Jeremy Hellickson's demeanor that would tell you that he would get too high or too low about anything?
Well, we did see him throw his chewing gum the other day. So we recorded that.
I stand corrected.
There's a high popper left side. That's not going to be an easy play, and Longoria stays with it and makes the catch. Well, that was up around the catwalk area and came down, and Evan somehow kept his sight of that ball and makes the grab to retire Aaron Sebia.
Yeah, not easy. You see the arms start to go up, and he finds it and makes that catch.
Now you make the catch, time to exhale. So a runner at first, 1 out. This here is Sturis is going to be the hitter, and now Jim Hickey makes a trip to the mound.
He's doing a lot of talking too, so he's seen something in Hellickson's delivery, his approach, something going on. It's not anything new on his tourist. They've already game planned for him.
Well, a reminder, kids, if you're looking for something fun to do this summer, come play where the Rays play. At the Rays Summer Baseball Camp, you can create your own moments by hitting at home plate like Evan Longoria or pitching from the mound like Matt Moore. To register, go to raysbaseball.com/camps. Here is Asturis. He's been swinging the bat better lately. A little more pop from the left side. 5 home runs on the year, and 4 have come left-handed. And Hellickson got him to ground into the 3-6-3 double play to end the second inning. Pop fly into left. Matt Joyce right there. 2 gone. Back to first, Rasmus with 2 outs, and Emilio Bonifacio walks toward the plate.
Well, 2 outs here into the 5th inning, and this is a Jeremy Hellickson special. I mean, this is what you expect out of Jeremy, what he's shown time and time again he's capable of doing, and that's weak contact. Soft fly balls, pop-ups, ground balls. Just getting a team out of their rhythm. This team certainly has been in a very good rhythm, very comfortable at the plate. A little out of sync tonight.
Pitch to Bonifacio is a strike. You know, we're talking about how tight the American League East is and how deep this could go. Well, in 2005, as recent as 05, the National League East had all 5 teams 2 games or better over 500 on September 30th. So there's no reason that this division couldn't duplicate that, as balanced as it appears to be. 1-1 the count to Bonifacio. And what that tells you, if you have the ability to run off 10 wins in a row or win 11 out of 13, something like that, that's the big push that you're looking for. And I really think that's something that when you look at this Rays ball club, you get Price back, you get Cobb back with their pitching, and you get the back end of the bullpen the way they know it can be. It has the capability of running off a string like that where they're in games night after night after night with a chance to win them. And that's the basis of that kind of winning streak.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's going to start, obviously, with the pitching staff. And this pitching staff, like you said, with those guys coming back, more than capable of doing that. The offense has shown the ability to be productive over a long stretch of time. Yes, he did.
That's going to get Bonifacio. He went around. Paul Immel made the call himself at the plate. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's 4-0 Rays. Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Checkers, feast on. Matt Joyce leads off the bottom of the 5th. And the pitch is a strike. Matt singled and eventually scored a run in the 3rd. The Rays facing Esmil Rogers tonight. 27-year-old right-hander. He'll be 28 in August. Bonifacio, the second baseman, handles this ground ball. One away. Rogers pitching against the Rockies on the 18th. Took a no-hitter into the 6th inning and had allowed just 1 hit after 6. He pitched 2 outs into the 7th inning of that game, allowing 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 were earned in an 8-3 victory. 1-0 the count to Ben Zobrist. Two balls and a strike. Rays got a walk off him in the 1st when Zobrist worked the count full and then drew the base on balls. 3 consecutive home runs in the 2nd. Rays got another run when Scott doubled home Joyce in the 3rd inning. Lobatone singled with 2 outs in the 4th. And now Zobrist bats, 1 away, bases empty in the 5th. And that strike runs the count all the way to 3-2. All 4. There's a base runner. So the Rays have had at least a runner in each of the first 5 innings. Just a reminder, you can send your favorite Rays players to the Big Apple this summer to play in the All-Star game. Simply log on to RaysBaseball.com to fill out your ballot. Vote now and vote often as we look at Evan Longoria. And BA, we were talking the other day off the air about Longoria. He needs more votes.
He was almost 1 million votes behind Manny Machado.
Machado's a great young player. Terrific.
Not 1 million votes.
But, yeah, come on. So somewhere across the board, Longoria needs to pick up a few more votes. Luke Scott fouls 1 out of play. Scott is grounded into a double play and has doubled in the run we referenced in the 3rd. Pitch away. It's 1-1. Mid-70s now in pitch count for Rogers. And that pitch is low. 2-1. The RBI for Scott in the 3rd inning is 26th of the year. Pitch popped up. Kawasaki, the shortstop, into shallow left center. So 2 outs. Longoria heads to the plate. Take a look at our lows. Never stop improving, and that would apply to Longoria. 3rd in extra base hits, 3rd in total bases, 4th in slugging percentage, 5th in runs scored. Those are all the offensive numbers that really count because they lead to runs scored. Here he is with a man at first and 2 outs in the 5th. One ball, no strikes. And he's been in there every day for the Rays. A couple of times as the DH, but he has played in every game. Coming off 3 home runs in the Yankees series. He's hit 7 in his last 14 games. 17 for the year now. A 1-0 count to Evan. On Perez, the lefty, up in the bullpen. Down. 2 balls, no strikes. 93, the high pitch count for Rogers in a start this year. He threw 89 his last time out. 79 right now. And he's way behind Longoria, doing a 2-0 slider. 3-0. Zobrist walked. He's at first. 3-0 the count. Longoria takes a fastball for a strike. And ball 4. 2 men on with 2 men out. Couple of bases on balls in the 5th. Let's take a look at today's AT&T social media poll. Which hitting duo is the best in the AL East? TB1, Pedroia and Ortiz. TB2, Cano and Hafner. TB3, Jones and Davis. TB4, how about Longoria and Loney? Or TB5, Bautista and Encarnacion. With your vote to @SunSportsRays.
As you might expect, all of them very good.
Well, here's Loney. He's already meted out some damage here with a home run in the 2nd. Takes a fastball, strike 1. Rays got 3 in the 2nd, 3 consecutive home runs, another run in the 3rd. That puts Loney down in the count. 0-2. It started wide and just got a little part of the plate.
A little bit of a cut fastball there. You know, we've seen the traditional fastball get up to 94, 95. That cut fastball, 89, 90. Slider in the mid-80s.
And a chopper. Lynn with the toss to Rogers. So the side is retired. The Rays lead 2 and lead 4-0. given the Rays 5 innings so far. No runs, 1 hit, and the Rays hit 3 consecutive home runs in the second. James Loney, then Will Myers to dead center, followed by Sam Foles shot to right field. Second time in franchise history they've hit 3 consecutive home runs. First time here at the Trop. Luke Scott added a run in the 3rd inning when he doubled home Matt Joyce. And with all of that, the Rays have a 4-0 lead moving into the 6th inning.
Jeremy Hellickson has made that offensive outburst by the Rays hold up. He has been extremely sharp.
He faces Kawasaki, the shortstop. First pitch, a fastball for a strike.
You can look at those walks, and 2 of them to Rasmus. Just Jeremy Hellickson falling behind and not wanting to give in, trying to make the perfect pitch, live to fight another day, and he's done that because he's limited this team to just 1 hit.
There's a strike, 0-2. Little curveball there.
Well, that's the thing. He's been very unpredictable with how he's sequencing these hitters. Change-ups, he's moving the fastball around.
Foul off Kawasaki's foot.
I thought that he really set that tone early in the game, throwing balls to both sides of the plate, and he was very good with them in there. We remember some of those fastballs in where Aaron Sevilla swung at the first pitch fastball in, broke his bat. He was really good to the extremes of the plate, and that kind of has set the tone for the success that he's been able to have since then.
And the pitch count has been very good for him. Kawasaki lays off. He had made 61 pitches through 5 innings. Now 1-2 the count here. 4 pitches here in this inning. Up to 65. On a hop, handled by Escobar. Throw to first, close. They got it. Kawasaki out at first.
Well, being caught in between, and Escobar is going to back up on this ball hit by Kawasaki so that he gets a better hop. Once he does that, Kawasaki's obviously hustling. Now he's got to get the throw over there in a hurry, and he gets enough on it just to get Munenori. You see him back up right there to get the hop, and now let it fly. I'll tell you what, he has played a tremendous shortstop for the Rays this year. All around.
You know, that's something that Joe Madden had touted from the spring forward.
Yep.
Just right from the get-go of spring training. He talked about, actually, even at that time, he said this guy could win a Gold Glove.
He could.
And what we've seen, he absolutely could do that.
Well, already among shortstops with 70 or more starts, you saw that stat. He's got 2 fewer errors than anybody else.
Yep.
And he leads in the zone fielding percentage.
One and one to count to Cabrera. Toward the line and left, Joyce, a straight line into foul territory. Boy, he lost that one at the last moment and still managed to make the catch. He had an idea where that was going to be. He ran there and then lost it, but still made the catch.
Run to a spot, look at him right there, up, hoping that the ball goes in the glove. And by the way, we're gonna have Sam Fold on tomorrow, mic'd him up, so that he can explain the fielding, zone fielding percentage.
Just break it down.
Yeah, I mean, sounds cool.
Yeah.
But he can straighten that out for us.
Here's Bautista. Jose Bautista takes a strike. That'd be a good little insert. Just pick one of those topics. Let him break it down.
Zone field. Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to step into the producer's role. Just a suggestion is all.
He's not listening anyway, so it doesn't matter.
1-1 the count. Hot shot. That's foul. And advances the count to a ball and 2 strikes here to Jose Bautista. Bautista came into the game hitting .254 with 16 home runs. Two and two. Bautista has gotten to 100 home runs quicker than any slugger in Blue Jays history. And they've had some guys who can hit the ball a long way. Freddie McGriff was one of them. And Joe Carter. High shot to center. Sam Fold there waiting for that one to come down. 1, 2, 3 go the Blue Jays. Home half of inning 6. Myers, Fold, and Lobatone do.
Rookie in 2008, he kind of watched Eric Hinsky and learned. And now, who does Will Myers watch? Evan Longoria.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously he's a very well-known player, and he goes about everything the right way. So, you know, I try to watch him in the clubhouse and, you know, just see what he does. He's given me some tips here and there, but, you know, I really try to watch him and see what he does and, you know, really try to model what I do off the field like what he does.
Not a bad role model, guys.
Pretty good job of it. 1 strike to count to Will. Strike on the outside edge, a breaking ball. And Rogers has stayed with some variety of the breaking ball since giving up that gargantuan home run to center field. Hit by Myers back in the second in the middle of 3 consecutive home runs. There's a base hit. Right back into center field. An 0-2 slider up a bit.
All those breaking balls, a fact not lost on Will Myers. He knows that all of a sudden Esmiel Rogers has changed his approach to him. A lot of sliders, so looking for that pitch and getting a hanger. And he just rifles that ball into center field.
So Myers is 2 for 3 tonight. 7 hits for the Rays. And Sam Fold steps in. Sam homered. Got ahead 2-0 and hit one out to right. Perez up in the bullpen again. Juan Perez. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss, and the throw. He is out at second base. Myers trying to get around the tag and go on the backside of second with his hand, but he is called out caught trying to steal.
Bonifacio trying to field this ball in front, so Will goes to the back.
Yeah. I'll tell you, he looked as if he got in there.
Yeah, it certainly did look like that right arm was able to circumvent the bag, catch that back edge.
One and two now to fold. Foul ball. Look, there's the hand on the bag, and there's the tag.
Yeah, Gary Darling looking right at it, and he's got him out.
Seats up the right side. A little competition for that souvenir. Bowles pops it for Kawasaki. Back on the dirt part of the infield. 2 outs. Kawasaki has been a lively part of this Blue Jays contingent.
How can he take him out of the lineup?
They're having a difficult time. You know, Reyes could be ready right now. They're thinking, well, we're going to wait a few days. We'll see.
Shot of energy.
And now Lobaton to shortstop. Kawasaki makes the throw to first. We're through 6. The Rays lead 4-0. Supporting youth baseball and softball at Equipment Day, June 28th, 29th, and 30th, as the Rays take on the Tigers. Donate new or used equipment inside Gate 1 and Gate 5.
Hey, that is aggressive. That's aggressive, and if you could Photoshop in that baseball card, I'm the third wheel.
Life imitating art.
Yeah. You know, I want to know what's on their iPod.
For sure.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Only imagine. Edwin Encarnacion will open the 7th. Rays lead 4-0. Pitch is a strike. Encarnacion has struck out and walked. 3 strikeouts tonight for Hellickson. He's also walked 3, and he's given up just 1 hit. A 1-1 count. Lind will be next, and then Rasmus. Long throw for Escobar, and it's right there on the money. 1 out in the 7th. Let's take a look at our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile. It's red hot Toronto Blue Jays ball club coming in here, riding an 11-game winning streak. They've had a couple more of those dating back to '87. They won 11 in a row against Seattle, Baltimore, and the Yankees. In '98 with Kansas City, Minnesota, Boston, and Cleveland. And in this one, it's been the White Sox, the Rangers, the Rockies, and the Orioles. Adam Lind hits a high fly ball. Center field. Sam Fuld is there and makes the catch. Still before he hit the track. So 2 gone in the 7th. It's 8 in a row retired by Hellickson. Alex Torres gets up in the bullpen. Hellickson chatting with Lobaton. Hellickson, a couple of quick outs in the 7th. So his pitch count right now is 78.
That's outstanding. I mean, right now a little over 11 per inning. Better than ideal.
The pitch is a strike to Rasmus.
Well, very few pitches left out over the plate. You see the inning high at 16 back in the 2nd. He has been down in the zone. He's been to the corners. He's changed speeds very well, really building off that last start against Boston.
1-1, and to this point now for the year, he's thrown a little over 98 innings. He's given up 97 hits. So fewer hits than innings pitched right now, and 22 walks.
Yeah, not.
I mean, so if you put those base runners together on hits and walks, that's very respectable. And he's still trying to get the ERA under 5.
That has just been hits with runners in scoring position, and a lot of them coming with 2 out. He keeps that under control, and you'll start to see that ERA plummet.
It's 2-2. Rasmus. Indians have scored 3 in the 6th on the Orioles to take a 3-2 lead. Here's the other thing about Hellickson tonight. 18 out of 23 first pitch strikes to this red-hot team, including the last 7 consecutive hitters first pitch strikes.
Well, that allows you to seize control of the count from the outset, puts you in the catbird seat. And then at that point, this team's so very aggressive. They're falling behind. They don't want to get to 2 strikes, have to deal with the changeup, and you can start to get them out of their comfort level and get them swinging outside of their zone.
Rasmus fouls it away. Runs, 7 hits for the Rays, no runs, 1 hit for the Blue Jays. And the count goes full to Rasmus. He's seen more pitches tonight from Hellickson than any other hitter.
Go, Hellickson!
And he's going to see at least one more, making this an 8-pitch at bat so far. Ground ball, that's going to be foul. So to this point, he's seen 21 of the 87 pitches Hellickson has made tonight. And he has yet to log an official at bat. He's walked twice and up to 3-2 here. And again a foul ball. This one into the seats. So that's 22 of 88. So he's seen now a fourth of Hellickson's pitches. One guy in the lineup. And close. Hellickson thought he might have had it with that fastball, and Rasmus walks. So 3 walks to Rasmus, 4 on the night.
Look how close that was. I mean, borderline pitch, almost too close to take with 2 strikes. But that's exactly what Rasmus does, and by doing so, he earns his 3rd walk. Jeremy's starting that walk towards the dugout, hoping that was going to be in his favor.
Here's JP Arancibia. Pulls it foul, strike 1.
We've seen this all night against Arancibia. He's a guy with a big swing, can get to be a long swing at times. He wants to get extension, so Jeremy has come in, and that fastball in, he's gone after each and every time.
Check swing, a little hopper, third base side, foul. And the count is 0-2. Michael Brantley had a 2-run single in the 3-run 6th inning, we referenced earlier, for the Indians. And now the Orioles are batting in the bottom of the 6th, 3-2. Cleveland leading that game in Baltimore. Into the dirt. Nice stop by Lobato. Rays scored 3 runs in the 2nd. Consecutive home runs from Loney, Myers, and Cole. Scott doubled in a run in the 3rd. That's it in the scoring department. Holds at a ball and 2 strikes. Two again, going outside all the way. 2-2. This has turned out to be a 20-pitch inning. That's courtesy of Colby Rasmus. He had an 11-pitch at bat before drawing the walk. Two now. And the count is full. Hellickson trying to get the final out in the 7th. Up to 95 pitches. Myceres Stewart is on deck. Alex Torres is in the bullpen. Three-two. He got it. Strikes him out. Aaron Sebia out on strikes for the first time tonight. Missed the changeup. They leave a man. It's 7th inning stretch time. Rays lead 4-0. Fired performance. Good night for Jeremy Hellickson. He leads 4-0. Hellickson, 7 innings of work, 96 pitches. He's looking for his 6th win of the year. So he has given the Rays 7 solid innings. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Juan Perez, the new pitcher, and his first pitch to Escobar is a fastball for a strike.
Perez on for the 7th time, 11 innings of work, 10 strikeouts.
He is one of 29 pitchers used by the Blue Jays this year. 29 pitchers. We're on the 24th of June. They think they've found the staff they like now. They've won 11 in a row.
Well, they've gone through 2.5 staffs worth of pitchers.
Yep.
Well, they have been throwing the ball great. During that winning streak, a 2.07 earned run average. The bullpen's ERA right down around a half a run, 0.63, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. But you want to see a pitcher open up and get those front hips open towards home plate. Watch Juan Perez. You know, we talk about being linear with that foot driving right directly towards home plate, the front foot. Watch how far he opens up.
Count still 2-2. That pitch swung on and pulled by Escobar.
Watch him really drive over. I'll tell you, if your timing is not perfect on that, you really expose that elbow, getting that far open.
And Escobar is out swinging. One away. Perez has pitched for the Pirates, the Phillies, and the Brewers. 34-year-old left-hander, and now Matt Joyce will be lifted. Sean Rodriguez will hit for Matt Joyce with this left-hander in the game. Strike one. Ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, you just watch his delivery. There's a lot of stress involved with this delivery.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen pitchers open up a little bit and step, a little bit off center. You see guys crossfire action. This is the extreme the other way. Wow.
2-2.
Really drives that way. That everything wide open. I mean that.
And that's a strike call. You got some break on that pitch. Slider. 2 gone. Kids Heaven Longoria wants you to visit your local library and pick up a Reading with the Rays game card. You can earn cool Rays prizes for reading around the bases this summer, including a ticket to a Rays home game. Reading with the Rays is supported by the Rays Baseball Foundation and Tampa Bay Times newspaper. And Zobrist. 1 ball, no strikes. One. Perez originally signed in '98 by the Red Sox and spent a long time in their system. There's a base hit the other way for Zobrist. Ben's on for the 3rd time in this game. That base hit to go with 2 walks. Now Luke Scott from the left side here against Perez. Scott doubled in a run back in the 3rd. Foul out of play. 1-1. Perez had elbow surgery when he was with the Pittsburgh organization and spent some time with the Pirates, but this time because of surgery, boy, when you watch him throw, you think there might be more places than just his elbow that would require surgery.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about guys having repeatable delivery, simple mechanics. Mm-hmm. There's nothing simple about this.
If you want a different look, you've got one.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it's been effective to the point of 2 strikeouts here. And Ben Zobrist, he got that hit ball that was up and away from him, broke his bat. Boy, oh boy, a lot of stress being put on that body with this delivery. Even has a little recoil action too after he delivers. He doesn't have that free fall towards home plate and let that momentum continue to carry you that way.
Two and one to count. Popped up left side. Isturiz in foul territory after it. And the Rays are out in the 7th inning. On to the 8th, 4-0 Tampa Bay. Jeremy Hellickson getting some congratulations from David Price and from Joe Madden. The Rays lead 4-0. Will Myers in the middle of 3 consecutive home runs. Loney, Myers, and Pohl. And Alex Torres will take over on the hill for Hellickson, making his 11th appearance.
Now the numbers are just, well, video game-esque. 2-0 on the record, but everything else, 20 innings, 27 strikeouts, has not given up an earned run. I believe he's given up 4 hits. Look at that opponent's average.
And Maicer Isturiz turns around to hit right-handed against Torres. Pitch outside. For the longest scoreless streaks in Rays history, J.P. Howell 27 1/3. Torres, dating back into the 2011 season, is at 25. Shields and Rodney 3 and 4 on that list. That's a strike.
Well, Alex has been able to do that because he has shown great command, better command than he's had at any point in his career, really. Minor league numbers, you look at those, but he has been spot on with that heater. Got good velocity to it, firm fastball. Changeup has been elite. It's been a great pitch for him. He's shown a nice slider, and he's been able to throw them all for strikes, and quality strikes at that.
And he's up with a 2-2 changeup. Bonifacio on deck. Kawasaki do. Swing and a miss. Well, he came right back with a changeup and got him. And that's what he's been doing every time we see him.
Well, it's the elite arm speed. I mean, that's what the hitter at the end of the day is swinging at. They see four-seam spin and quick arm, and they gear up and swing for the fastball, and it's not. Great pitch. Great sell job. I also like the situation that he's being put in here.
With a lead.
With a lead late in the game. You know, the Rays have some guys at the back end of that bullpen. You think about Jake McGee, Peralta, obviously Rodney, the closer. It's not bad to have one more guy out there, get him a little bit of experience, pitching with a lead later in the game.
Quickly ahead of Bonifacio. Changeup, fastball, 0-2.
Yeah, the combination works. We've seen it over and over and over again. It worked for Hellickson as a starter. It works for Rodney as the closer. It works for Torres. You sprinkle in some breaking balls here and there. It's a great pitch.
Ground ball back over the mound, over the bag, backhanded by Zobrist, but no play. That one went right back through the middle of the mound and over the second base bag. A base hit for Bonifacio.
Now, those are the kind of hits you give up from time to time. I mean, just found a perfect little area to hit it to. Doesn't even get into center field. This ball not hit well by Bonifacio right off the label, but he gets it by Torres. Zobrist does a nice job of fielding, but you're not going to throw out Bonifacio on that.
Mark DeRosa to pinch hit for Kawasaki. Fastball too tight. So the Blue Jays tonight have had 2 hits and 4 walks. DeRosa could not stay back on that one. 1-1. Two balls and a strike. 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Rays. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. First of a 3-game series. And now DeRosa is ahead in the count. It's Melky Cabrera on deck. Challenged him with a fastball, 3-1. That one at 93, and he got it by him.
Yep, rode it up in the zone. These are tough pitches to get on top of. Talked about Alex Torres' fastball being firm, and that one he gets up around the letters, and DeRosa swings right through it.
Three balls, 2 strikes. And he misses. Pitch wide. So an infield hit, and now the walk, 2 on, 1 out. Let's check in with Kelly. Kelly?
Never too early, guys, to start talking about tomorrow. Join us at 6:30 for the Rays Live pregame show, driven by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll introduce you to the softer side of James Loney as he visits sick children at Tampa General. Very sweet. We'll talk about the resurgence of Adam Lind, 0 for 3 tonight, but boy, has he been on a tear. And two southpaws, Matt Moore and Mark Burley, square off. And guys, I'll let you in on a little moment. I was at Tampa General with James Loney. He saw the cutest little nugget, couldn't couldn't believe how tall he was. Asked him, how tall are you, James? He says 6'3". He said, boy, whatever milk you were drinking growing up, I need to start that.
Well, those are special moments at those hospitals with these guys and the visits. There's no question about that.
Yep.
They're great. Actually, I was going to say morale boosters for the youngsters, but it works the other way around more often.
It does. It absolutely goes both ways. It makes you walk into the rooms and these kids, their eyes light up. They get so excited, and a lot of them, what they're having to deal with, puts a lot of things into perspective for the player as well.
Well, here's the top of the order. Melky Cabrera in at first and second, one out. One strike the count. On the corner, 0-2. TOR is working here in relief of Hellickson. Alex worked an inning and 2/3 Saturday in New York. A little popper, shallow left. Escobar starts out, can't get there. The pickup by Sean Rodriguez, and suddenly the bases are loaded with only one out, and Jose Bautista will be coming to the plate. So a spot here in the 8th.
Well, how is this? You see this ball, Melky Cabrera able to stay back on it, just put that ball in play. Good change up down. He just flips it out there into no man's land. This all started with a ball off the label of Emilio Bonifacio that didn't even make it to the outfield for an infield hit, a walk, and now a bloop. The Jays get the tying run to the plate.
Rajah Davis is going to be the runner at first for Cabrera. He has great speed. And the hitter is Jose Bautista. And he hits a big chop to short. Escobar to second. Out there, the run scores. They just do get Davis with his outstanding speed. Bonifacio crosses the plate. DeRosa to third. And that will make it 4-1.
Boy, that was close.
That
was
close.
Very close at second base. That ball chopped by Jose Bautista. Going to take a while to come down to Escobar. And that allows Davis, who's going, knowing that's a ground ball, he's got to wait for it, then get rid of it in a hurry. And that is bang, bang at second base. The right call was made.
Another tough bat here, and Edwin Encarnacion. The pitch is down.
The pitch was saved. How about that pick by Lobaton? Runner on third base.
Well, Alex Torres has finally given up a run. 1-1 to count. An infield hit that you referenced. Bonifacio reached, and he has scored the run. Fly ball into right. Myers there waiting for it, keeping his eye on it all the way to retire the side. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's 4-1 Tampa Bay.
Yes, which duo do you like in the AL East the best? Which hitting duo? Hashtag TB1. The Red Sox, Dustin Pedroia or Big Papi. Hashtag TB2, Robinson Cano, Travis Hafner. Hashtag TB3, Adam Jones, Chris Davis. Hashtag TB4, the guy who played Evan Longoria and James Loney. Or hashtag TB5, Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays, guys. Also,
right.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
Dwayne.
Todd, no, go ahead.
Coming up in the Rays Live postgame show, we'll give you the results of that Twitter poll and also Joe Madden's press conference, Will Myers' home debut, and interviews from the clubhouse, as well as your guys' analysis. Now back to you.
So we invite everyone to stay tuned for that immediately following our coverage. While 2 pitches into the Evan Longoria at bat. Darren Oliver, the new pitcher. 2 strikes the count to Evan with James Loney to follow. And then Will Myers. To chop down to third. That's DeRosa, who's now playing third. And he throws out Longoria. DeRosa's at third. Estouris has moved over to shortstop. Kawasaki lifted. And out in left field, Cabrera lifted for the pinch runner Davis, and he stays on to play left, Rajah Davis. Well, you saw the importance of speed and how close he made that play at second base. The Rays don't make that play, they could have been in big trouble in the top of the 8th. It was a strike at the knees to James Loney.
If you were Toronto, during the course of this ball game, they had that was their opportunity, the big opportunity. Had done nothing offensively, save a few walks, but then an infield hit, a walk, a bloop, and you were able to get Bautista and Encarnacion to the plate as the tying run. You couldn't have asked for a better scenario the way that their offense has gone tonight, and the Rays were able to answer, hold them to just 1 run, and maintain that lead.
Still 2 strikes. Loney facing the veteran left-hander Darren Oliver. Oliver, 42 years old. He broke into the big leagues with the Texas Rangers back in 1993. High pop fly. Rasmussen center makes the catch. So 2 outs. Will Myers about to step in. He hit the home run to center field back in the 2nd inning. A fastball, and he tattooed that one. Also had a base hit in the 6th. The Myers jerseys are out, by the way. Joe Madden said he wanted him to just be one of 9 hitters in the lineup. Well, he is number 9 in the lineup, hitting 6th tonight. A ball and a strike. One and two.
You know what's going to be interesting to watch with Will Myers is over the course of the first week, maybe 2 weeks, as he faces a couple of different teams and faces a couple of different approaches, how the scouting reports change and how teams start to attack him once he's been out there for a little while. You see a lot of guys come up, teams will attack him one way, he has a lot of success, and then they're going to try to find that weakness and exploit it.
And there is strike 3 call. Oliver started that one off the plate and cut over and caught the corner, says Paul Immel. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. 4-1 Tampa Bay. Tomorrow night, here's the pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Mark Burley, the veteran lefty, against the Rays' young left-hander Matt Moore. Matt after his 10th win of the year. We'll be with you at 6:30 with our pregame coverage on Sun Sports.
But the only thing similar with those two pitchers right there in the matchup is they're left-handed. Outside of that, completely different styles. Both of them can be very effective.
Desmond Jennings enters the game to play center field for the Rays here in the 9th. And Sam Fold moves over to play right field, so the Rays will have Rodriguez, Jennings, and Fold left, center, and right in the outfield. Joe Madden putting his best defense out there with the lead in the 9th inning. And Fernando Rodney takes over on the hill. Trying to close this one out. First pitch is a strike to Adam Lynn. Rodney closed out the 3-1 victory yesterday in New York in grand style.
Well, and what you hope to see from yesterday on is that Fernando Rodney. He came out like his hair was on fire. And I mean, it was first pitch 96, 97, the good changeup. And we saw that attacking, aggressive style of Fernando Rodney that we saw all of last year. That was great.
Lynn takes it low. Adam Lynn. Rasmus due next, and then Aaron Sebia. That takes the count to 2-2. Rodney finished off last night or yesterday afternoon getting Almonte, Nix, and Adams all on strikes. And a high pop foul back near the screen, and Lobaton runs out of room.
That rarely happens.
Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Once the ball came right down here.
Indians batting in the top of the 8th in Baltimore. 3-2 Cleveland in that game. And Rodney misses wide. So he's 3-2 on Adam Lynn.
I want you some glasses, huh?
And a swing and a miss. That 97-mile-per-hour fastball right by him on 3-2.
Yeah, and late movement may have taken it out of the zone, but you got to make your mind up so quick. 97 is close enough. You go after it, just come up empty. Ball right on the edge.
That brings up Colby Rasmus. Rasmus has seen more pitches than anybody else tonight. And he takes a strike on the changeup. He drew 3 walks against Hellickson. It's 1-1. Late and foul. A ball, 2 strikes. Rays got 3 in the second. They got another run in the third. Blue Jays put up a run in the 8th. Strike 3 call. Rasmus out on strikes. So that's 2 strikeouts tonight after the 3 yesterday.
Yeah, you wonder here if Colby is looking for the changeup, because that is a fastball right down the middle that just freezes him.
Well, you got a 50-50 shot to guess right. Here's J.P. Arencibia. Fastball 98, that's off the plate. 1-0. One and one. Rays trying to take the first game of this series and snap the Toronto winning streak. .98 fastball missed, says Paul Neville.
Not by
2-1.
much.
Well, Foxtrack liked it.
Pretty good pitch.
Two and one to count. Cut the foul ball, squares it. So the Rays an out away from notching a victory here over the Blue Jays. Rodney looking for the save. And the 2-2, full count. Will Myers looking on from the Rays dugout. He's had a couple hits, including another home run tonight. Rodney's 3-2. And just a little piece of it. Arencibia stays alive. Fouled the changeup. And a ground ball off the glove of Rodney. It's going to deflect to Escobar, but there will be no play. Rodney tried to recover, but could not get back there in time, and that's a base hit off Rodney's glove.
Here it is. Ball hammered right back, and you see Fernando Rodney as he peels off towards first base, unable to get spun back around. See how much effort he puts into each pitch. And as he reaches back off the glove, that ball just dies out there.
It's an infield hit. A runner aboard. And here's Asturias. That's a strike. This Blue Jay lineup with a powerful lineup, but their hits tonight. There's a little ground ball. Zobrist makes the play, and this game is over. So a ground ball ends it. That was the nature of their hits the last couple of innings. Rays are winners 4-1. Jeremy Hellickson is going to get his 6th victory of the year. His record will go to 6-3. Rogers, the loser, now 3-3. And a save for Fernando Rodney. That will be his 16th of the year. And the Rays moved to within 4.5 of the first place Boston Red Sox in the AL East. Blue Jays at 5.5 back as the Rays stop the Toronto winning streak at 11. 3 home runs hit in consecutive manner by Loney, Myers, and Bold in the second inning, headlining this one along with the starting pitching performance of Jeremy Hellickson. He worked 7, Alex Torres 1, and Fernando Rodney the final inning to post the save. Took 2 hours and 36 minutes to play this game, and the Rays come away with their 40th win of the year tonight. 4-1 Rays over the Blue Jays. Let's go to the field and Todd Callis.
Dwayne, thanks with Will Myers. Will, how about your first home game? You end up getting a curtain call right out of the gates. Not too bad, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool playing here at home and just able to put a good swing on a good pitch right there and help my team.
Tell me about that first AB, Esmiel Rogers. Do you even look at video on a guy going into a night like tonight? All these guys are probably new to you.
Yeah, I haven't faced him. I didn't look at any video. I just kind of want to learn for myself. But yeah, we just got a good pitch to hit right there and was just able to put a good swing on it.
And down in the count, you put a great swing on it. Not many people go off the restaurant. That had to feel pretty good when that left the bat.
Yeah, definitely. It felt good when it came off the barrel. I knew I had a good chance of getting out. Luckily it did.
Later on, down in the count again, I believe, a nice single to center. You hung in there in that at bat, and then it looked like you were safe. A nice evasive tag at second. The call didn't go your way. Was that a hit and run, or were you on your own stealing?
Yeah, it was a hit and run right there. I thought I might have got around the tag, but the umpire called me out.
What about the fly balls in right field? I guess you only had one out there today, but you were working with George Hendrick before the game. Any difficulty picking up the ball off the bat tonight?
No, it wasn't too difficult right there. I was kind of nervous when I saw it coming my way, but no, I read it pretty well and I saw it the whole way.
How about this team in general? Nice little win to wrap up the road trip. You're okay. No shaving cream pies today. Nice way to wrap up the road trip and then kick off the homestand with back-to-back. Nice pitching performances as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great for the team right there. 2 big wins for us. We're looking to continue it here at home.
I think walk-offs, you might be worried about shaving cream pies, but a 4-1 win, I think you're okay. Thanks, Will.
Good. Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. A fun game here tonight at Tropicana Field. Rays win it 4-1. Back to wrap it in a moment.